Rebecca went through a lot of the same stuff I did. A lot of the stuff where, you know, people wanted to treat her like she was crazy. And of course, she was telling the truth the whole time. But some parts of her story were hard to believe. Well, fact is stranger than fiction, motherfuckers. If these, what do you call them, web sleuth sites were to show the whole truth, including my shit, oh my god, yes, it is way stranger than the fucking fiction that they sold. It is way stranger. When somebody has been through enough that they finally have to go, enough is enough, I have to make a stand. I want you to imagine what it takes to get to that point, because most of you are complacent. Most of you, your advice when somebody else is abused is just lay down and take it. Is that the advice that you give yourself? Rebecca's going through hell. There ain't no doubt about that. I needed somebody to actually sit down with me, go through this, find out what was going on, read the information, and listen to what I had to fucking say. Actually help me make these phone calls, something that family would actually do. See, when you're called mentally ill, all of your rights as an adult disappear, and you're stuck with less rights than a child has. And children don't have shit for rights. Sure, on paper they do, but in reality, they're kids. Sorry, folks, I almost vomited. Rebecca's going through hell. Right now, she's doing a lot of things that I did, things that I had to do because I didn't have anyone like me in my fucking corner. If there was two of me, this would have been fucking taken care of, done and over with, all the way back in 2016, in December at the latest. But it was just one of me trying to convince someone to give a shit enough to take a look at it. Someone to give a shit enough to do something about the laws that were being broken. Because those laws were being broken to hurt me. And we could have a whole week worth of videos just on how the police affected public opinion. How much effort and how many of your tax dollars were wasted to do that in order to convince people not to look at the truth, not to look at all sides, not to look at all evidence. If you paint me as the bad guy from the beginning, well, life is grand, ain't it? Here's the way that I want you to imagine the situation with Waylon Lolatai, because that was right after Natalie was killed. Within 2 weeks of her being killed, I was assaulted by Waylon Lolatai. By the way, he was the one in the Zaid Atkinson situation that was on 60 Minutes, as well as many other places. Sorry about that. I had to zone out of what I was doing because I was trying to not puke. As a result, I forgot what it was that I was trying to make a point of. Oh, yes. Waylon Lolatai assaulted me. He also assaulted 6 more people after me, and he'd already had a history of assault before me. Why was he still a fucking cop? He and his co-workers committed crimes against me in January of 2018, right after Natalie was killed. But they were trying to frame me for a murder. If I'd have been heard at that point, instead of them busy trying to frame me for a crime I didn't commit, things would have turned out a lot fucking different. But I didn't have anyone in my corner, and I understood that. With everything that Rebecca has been telling me about her situation, yeah, I understand getting blown off. I understand people going, I don't want to get involved, especially homeless people, because they know if they speak up, they're going to get victimized by the police. So the things that she's telling me about her situation, it's not like I haven't already been through it myself. And the things that she asked for in specific, I didn't come up here because she was missing. She didn't go missing until after I had already left to come up here. When I made that missing persons thing about her, she wasn't missing when I left to come up here. She was missing by the time I got here. After over a month, she finally was found. But one of the situations with many of the predators and many of the victims is a safe environment. Many of these predators have a safe environment and are protected by others. They have other people in their household that are automatically going to take their side. Your wife is automatically going to take your side. Your husband is automatically going to take your side. Your girlfriend doesn't know me from Adam, doesn't know her from Adam. She's going to take your side. Your kids don't know us, they're automatically going to take your side. Even if they see you doing something horrible to these people, they're going to ignore that part and they're automatically going to take your side. If you tell your family, in many of your cases, what to say, they'll say what you tell them to. It's complicated to work past that. You need more than one person to do that. Rebecca needed my help so that she had someone to verify she was telling the truth. And she's got other people who have also verified that she was telling the truth. And each little bit and piece that she gets, where people are admitting that she was telling the truth about each and every little part, the more story comes together. The more people realize she has been telling the truth. She's trying to get you to listen, and you're busy pretending like she's crazy because her predators told you she was crazy. And then when she is having angry responses because she's gone to the police repeatedly, just like I did, and they've treated her like she's a nut job for the things that she's saying. She's overwhelmed when she goes in, and she has to go in by herself. And their protocol when you go in by yourself is completely different than their protocol when you go in with someone else. And so now she's got it in her head that that's the way that it's always going to be. I'm here to help her. But then again, how is she supposed to trust that I'm actually going to be here to help her? With my monetary situation, it's damn near impossible to do what I'm doing already to try to help her. I mean, it's costing me a shit ton of money to do this. But at the same time, I was going to spend that money to go somewhere else regardless. I had to worry about my safety where I was at. For her, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, she needs a safe environment before she can work on any of this. Same thing with me. An environment where she's not surrounded by what's the people that I've been complaining about? Meth heads and alcoholics. She's surrounded by meth heads and alcoholics. Your guys' idea is for her to go somewhere else. My idea is also for her to go somewhere else, but I don't want her to have to go somewhere else by herself. I don't want to go somewhere else by myself. I would feel safer if she was with me. Because I know that if I have one other person with me, I am 99% more likely to not get fucked with. It is extremely rare for predators to go after somebody unless they're by themselves. And the ones that are going to victimize multiple people are carrying firearms. They're going to point a gun at you when they do it. They want to have the upper hand. That's how predators work. Now, two things are very important in that. Number one, remain public. Number two, safety in numbers, always. Rebecca's experienced some trust issues, and I completely understand them. I get why she's having those trust issues with the things that she's gone through, but I got to tell you, I'm completely overwhelmed. I wanted to go through it today, and I've taken a couple of see the videos. This is part of my work is doing the research and then speaking on video, finding the evidence, speaking on video, and oftentimes showing it on video. Now the stuff with Rebecca, right now she's freaking out and she's talking about how some Crips beat her up the other day. Now I'm going to tell you, it's different here with gangs. West Coast gangs, this isn't the Chapel Mafia, all right? This isn't some little wannabe gang in friggin' Chapel, Nebraska. This isn't some little wannabe gang in Denver, Colorado, or Longmont, Colorado, or heaven forbid, Boulder, Colorado. These are actual gangs. Okay, these are people who will actually hurt you. They'll actually stomp your head in. They'll actually kill you, and they're actually here. A lot of y'all, you glorify the West Coast, but then you only look to California. The reason you only look to California is because that's where most of the famous rappers you see on TV are from. It ain't just about rap. It's not. It's about territory. It's about prestige. When you got the low man on the totem pole, that's the guy who's going to do the damage. That's the guy who is the low level footman, henchman, whatever, who is going to do the dirty work. He's the one who's going to spend the time locked up too. The real gangsters already have a name. They don't need to make a name for themselves. They can use their name to have other people commit these crimes for them. Albeit some of the people that she pissed off are the same people that I pissed off. The reality of it is, neither one of us actually pissed those people off. Those people are pissed off because they did wrong things and we told. The people that we're unhappy with, both of us have a lot of people mutually in common. And some of those people that I don't get along with, she's still friends with. And don't get me wrong, just because me and Desiree aren't exactly on speaking terms right now doesn't mean I don't love Desiree. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't rescue her if she fucking needed it. Obviously. I rescued her. She fucking stole all of my things. And I rescued her again. Twice. Once from long distance, because it was the best that I could do at that point. Now, Rebecca, she's either, what she's talking about doing is pissing off these gangsters until they can come down and harm her or possibly even kill her to force the police to do their jobs. And I'm explaining to her, hey, I'm here. You aren't doing this by yourself anymore. You don't have to do this by yourself. But she's been going off the fucking deep end for a week. Oh my God, talking about chopping people's kids up and killing people and all that creepy shit that I'm against. You got to hear in my court date how a video where I was talking about how I am against these ideas. It's not just Rebecca who says that shit. It was also Candace Bondurant. It was also Miss Peaches, aka Kayla Trujillo. Hell, I've even had my life threatened by one of Natalie Bollinger's ex-stepmoms, Danica Garner. Yes, she literally threatened to kill me. Yay, right? This is someone that I was willing to give up my life to protect. With Rebecca freaking out today, she's been texting me for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours straight. I told her I was going to get on that stuff yesterday, and I did, and I was on it as best I could. I eventually needed to go to sleep. I was looking that stuff up for about an hour after I left here. I went up to the park and ride where I usually sleep, and I started looking that stuff up. But every time she would message me, it would exit out of it, and I literally have to start completely over again. I got to start all the way from the beginning. And she's texting me little short stuff, which I'd prefer that you type a big long paragraph. I'm also one of the few people who's going to read a big long paragraph. If I tell you that I didn't read a paragraph, it's not because I didn't want to, it's because I was busy typing my short paragraph before you started typing that long paragraph. I typed my short paragraph and needed to press enter. You're just far faster at typing than I am. With Amy, before we could turn Andrew in, me and the lady who was, well, she was trying to, I was going to the lady because I knew that Amy Witcher needed a safe environment before she was going to be able to turn Andrew in. And if we didn't get her in a safe environment, she would be in one of those situations where she's going to feel it's necessary to protect her predator. And that lady, she jumped the gun. Yes, we needed to get Andrew away from his victim, who was not his daughter, but his stepdaughter. And also, his stepdaughter is one of the few people I've met in my lifetime who might truly be a psychopath. Um, I'm sure her mom and Andrew and my mom and Jeff Witcher, who is Andrew's father, can all tell you about the time she put a puppy inside of a box and put the garden hose in there and turned on the garden hose and sat on the box until the puppy drowned to death. That's a pretty scary thing. And of course, with the story that Amy told me about that little girl's father molesting her ex molesting that little girl. And then Andrew's telling, she's, this little girl is telling her that Andrew is molesting her now at this point. And what's mom supposed to do by law in Nebraska? She's supposed to call the police. She's a mandated reporter. Everyone is. If a child tells you that they're being abused, you are breaking the law by not calling it in and by not turning it in. And that's why I did what I had to do by law. Now, the lady that I reached out to for help trying to get Amy a safe place, I mean, this is after Andrew was freaked out and tried pulling all of his bullshit. So now, because I was in Washington State, and Amy asked me to come all the way to Nebraska to watch her kids. And I was almost to Nebraska, and she let Andrew know. Now, the only reason that she's needing me to watch the kids is because Andrew won't stay off the meth and he won't stop fucking around. So I'm almost there, and Andrew pulls this whole, keep him away from the kids, I'll call CPS myself stuff. And, she's letting me know what he's saying. All of the help that I had, it was similar to the help that Rebecca got. People who bullshit her or just blew her off altogether or didn't realize that their stuff was so important, that their words were so important, that just that little part makes all the difference in the world. That's something that they were there for. The fact that they can verify it is the difference between her having to go through this for the rest of her life or possibly having a future away from these predators. Possibly having a future that doesn't involve all of the restrictions that are put on you when you are victimized in this way, the restrictions that are put on you when you're called mentally ill, restrictions put on you in the jails, restrictions put on you out in society, restrictions put on you in the courts. All of these are denials of your rights. And Rebecca is going through this shit. And I'm here. I can drive to her. And if she has a place, a campsite or something like that, because obviously I'm broke, I can't rent us a room. Also, I've got everything needed to survive up in the mountains and it's cheap. That's something that's always helped me out and it helped her out in the past as well. She needs to get away from those tweakers. Just like I was trapped in the environments that I had before because I didn't have the money to get out of them. Like Brett Roloff being all fucked up on meth. But I couldn't afford to leave. I didn't have an income. I didn't have any money. At Shannon Alvarado's, she was all fucked up on alcohol. I couldn't leave. I didn't have any fucking money. I didn't have an income. My disability money was not coming in. Why is that? Because I was held for too long. I was held for longer than 30 days and I didn't have any help getting my disability money back until I got my autism advocate, who, by the way, is not an accredited advocate and didn't do any of the things that an advocate is supposed to do. Now, by law, they're not allowed to do any of this shit. The law is not allowed to do any of this shit unless I have an advocate. But they have denied her the right to do any of the things that an advocate can do. And then there's the distance, because she's all the way in Lincoln and Chapel, Nebraska is at the opposite end of the state. It's a pretty big state, and that's the long ways across the state. She can't come to court for these things, and they keep muting her from court. My public pretenders aren't actually bothering with trying to find out what was going on from her while it is still pertinent to the situation. But I've been here for well over a month. The first month I had to spend trying to find her. Finally found her. I've spent all of the time since then trying to get what it is that she's telling me and put it all together and read everything, and she just keeps on sending it. You know, and then she's sending me like one sentence at a time, and it just keeps on bombing at me. And at night, you know, I'm trying to do a little bit of it at night. That way, before I go to sleep, I've got some of this going on. You know, I've got something accomplished. I may not get it all done, but at least I've got it started. But then all night long, I'm trying to get some sleep, and she's dinging me, and she's dinging me, and these tweakers won't leave her alone, and my phone just keeps going off. And so I turn off my phone, and then it's wanting to turn on the light, turn on the light, turn on the light. And I'm like, God, I need to sleep. And I'm not looking at what she's messaging me. I'm not. I'll wait till the morning to read it. I have to get some sleep. This morning I got like 2 hours of sleep. That's all I got. I'm in my vehicle making videos. It's hot as fuck. I came up here to be a second person. I came here with recording equipment. So the people that we need to call and the people that we need to get a hold of in order to turn these predators in, and in order to get the evidence that shows, because there's evidence that she doesn't have. She needs to be able to get it. She needs to have at least a P.O. box where she can have mail sent to, because some of her evidence is actually her hospital records, just like with me. My hospital records from Chesapeake, Virginia would have squashed everything about Natalie Bollinger's death right at the fucking beginning. It would have squashed everything that I was being fucking abused over and brought those people into a courtroom if somebody would have actually cared enough to look at those hospital records and realize, yes, I was telling the truth. But I didn't have anyone in person to help me with that. Rebecca was saying she was having the same problems, and she is. She needs someone to help her with that. I came up here to help her the way that she asked me to, and she asked me to help the way that I was asking for help, the help that I needed. Yes, I can absolutely help you with that. You have absolutely diagnosed the problem. Yes, I can absolutely assist you with that. But then today she wants to have somebody kill her so that I'm stuck with all of it. And if that happens, yes, I will continue trying to tell her story. To this day, I still do my best to try to tell Natalie's story. And Natalie did a lot of fucked up shit to me. It's not that she hated me. It's that she cared about public opinion, and she for surely cared about her parents' and her family's opinion. She wanted to make her family happy so much that she got onto Craigslist and paid someone to blow her head off and tried to frame me for it. Tried to frame her victim. Meanwhile, Natalie not only victimized me, but her family victimized me. Her family victimized her. And you don't get how important that is. That these people who she had told me had been predatory towards her prior to that situation because we were friends. She told me a lot of stuff that she probably shouldn't have, given what she chose to do to me to try to hide the things that she was doing, to try to hide her embarrassment. But when you have typed and texted your dirty little secrets to somebody, and then you want to play victim after doing that, and they have the evidence, they still have the evidence. A lot of people have gone back through and tried to erase evidence and destroy evidence, and they're literally breaking the law by doing that. Of course, with me taking screenshots of every fucking thing I can, especially if it's important, yeah, people are finding that after they've done their best to erase that and destroy it and get rid of it, that it didn't matter because I already took screenshots 6 fucking months ago, dumbass. And I suspect it's the same with Rebecca. She's got a lot of evidence that shows that, first of all, she did try to contact the people that she said that she did. Those people do exist. They did blow her off. They treated her the same way that my supposed friends treated me. Treated her the same way that the cops treated me. Treated me the same way that the courts treated me. No, she didn't get it nearly as bad. But does that make it okay? Absolutely not. I am not going to pretend that that is any less traumatizing because it's not as bad. It could always be worse, or it's worse somewhere else, is the worst excuse for not doing something about this here and now. If your friend is raped, instead of telling her to just get over it, offer to go to the police station with her and stay with her the whole time for her safety, so that she doesn't get grilled and treated like she might have wanted it by the cops. When cops ask you questions like, well, are you sure you didn't ask for it even just a little bit? Holy fucking shit. Now, of course, with a minor, they're lucky. A parent is supposed to be there for questioning. And a parent is not going to let that fucking stand. Your family is not going to sit there and listen to an officer talk to you like that after you have been raped. I needed the same thing that Rebecca did. I needed to get my predators into court. I needed my friends to tell the truth, not scurry and hide like rats and give empty promises from the corner. Oh, I'll come out of hiding. I surely will. I'll tell the truth. I really will. I'll help you, Sean. I really will. I swear, Sean. I promise. I promise. Where did their promises go? So I understand why Rebecca is completely fucking flipping out, but I also let her know I'm not going to take part in felonies. I'm not going to assist her in threatening to chop up people's fucking kids. That's not okay. You know what that shit with Leslie Snell? I was speaking out about how wrong that is. How wrong it is that all of the people that I'm going to for help, all of their solutions are violent. And when I speak out about how wrong that is, these people are actually telling me to do these things and saying that they want to do these things to people. They're not getting in any trouble for that, but I'm in trouble for saying that it's wrong. We can't have that. Then we've got the fact that with the courts, you know, they want to lock you up and you don't have the money for bail, and they've taken away your phone and taken away your ability to communicate with people. And then you can't show evidence. Now, everything that I told the doctors was true. Everything. Let's see if this works properly. This right here is a link to a video on my Facebook. This is one of the things that I claimed that they said that I was schizophrenic because I made this claim. I had a video that was almost 94,000 views. 94,000 views. And they tried to pretend I was making it up. Like I was schizophrenic and it was a figment of my imagination. Meanwhile, their doctor, Dr. Klaus Hartman, got all these numbers behind his name and all these letters behind his name, all professional, right? And I was trying to go through the Department of Health and Human Services to show my evidence. Everyone that I was told to go to, I went to. Now, this guy works for the Department of Health and Human Services, and guess what? He didn't look at any of the fucking evidence. He didn't bother to look at the evidence. One of the things that I told him, 93,000 views. I told him that there was one of my videos with almost 94,000 views. And of course, his old ass, man, what's he know about the internet? Yeah, after you've been on the news, when you have been on Denver 7 and Fox 31 and Channel 9 and Channel 2, and you've been in almost all of the newspapers in Colorado at that point in time, yes, absolutely. There are people who are going to read that and see it and get curious and take a look. But, of course, with being told that I was schizophrenic, this doctor wasn't going to take a look. None of them were. I was treated like I was schizophrenic until guess what? There was people who worked there who actually looked this stuff up. They looked up Natalie Bollinger's name. They looked up my name, including Dr. Ted Hill. And then they stopped that shit. They stopped it. With the exception of the staff, the jailers, the prison guards. They continued their bullshit. But the doctors were like, we're not having none of this. We're not even going to pretend that you're schizophrenic, dude, because that's our asses on the line. But also, we can't come forward without the courts ordering us to, because then it is also our asses on the line because we signed an agreement. Ted Hill, there's also Dr. Sears. There's also a nurse up there who used to be in King County, Washington. He used to be a social worker. And his name is Joseph Hall. Joseph Hall looked it up too. There was a few people who looked it up. And that was the difference between being given the mentally ill treatment by those folks and them actually taking the time to listen to what I had to say is that they looked it up. Dr. Sears looked it up. Dr. Ted Hill looked it up. Dr. Ted Hill, after everything, and he went through a lot of stuff. Holy hell, when he was talking to me in our one-on-one sessions for an hour, 1 hour a week, if I'm lucky, in our 1 hour sessions, he was telling me a lot of stuff that none of my friends knew about the Natalie situation. Do you know why? They never bothered to look it up. But Ted Hill, like the things that he had to say about Natalie's mother, he didn't have nice things to say about Natalie's mother. His professional opinion was that she should have charges brought against her. And out of all these people, in my personal opinion, she's the one that needs the charges the least. I mean, she didn't play these complete and total bullshit fucking head games with me nonstop. She didn't pretend like she was going to help me and have other people pretend to be autism advocates in order to twist and manipulate a fucked up situation. Now I'm here to help Rebecca how I needed, how I still need. And I'm not asking Rebecca to help me in that way. Now, if she was to take a look at my situation, she would understand that her tactics aren't working. They're not going to work. Now, as a female, they're more likely to work. But at the same time, you know, with her story, just like with Graham, if it's not her voice telling her story, people aren't going to believe me. They're going to treat me like I'm making it up, like it's manufactured. Like Rebecca Grossnickel is not a real person. Like she's a figment of my imagination, despite the fact that, well, we've got conversations with her recorded on my YouTube channel here now. See, the problem is with getting it turned in. Are they going to listen to me? Are they going to listen to her? They're far more likely to listen to her if we both go in, especially if they know that we are recording it, especially if we're recording it live to a third party. Now, obviously, I would have preferred to record stuff and send it to just a third party. Have one person on my side who's willing to do that, to take a look at it, to record it, to get it sent to where they need to send it. I don't have one of those, though. But that way, in case something happens, it's recorded. Like those officers in Rawlins, Wyoming, they'd be going to prison for what they did to me if they hadn't stolen the evidence of their crime and created a situation using the courts, using my own public pretender in order to deny me the access to the evidence that shows the crimes that they committed. That computer also showed the crimes committed by many other officers. Same thing with the evidence of child abuse and neglect. That includes sexual abuse on those computers. Rebecca has no idea how many of those people's stories I have saved. She wants me to tell her story. She's not the only one. There are so many people that want me to tell their stories. No, they need to tell them. There are so many people who want to type at me their story and have me tell it. I can do that, but your words are more important than mine, and you need to tell it. So that people say, well, how do I know you didn't write that? How do I know that you didn't make a fake account and send that to yourself? If Rebecca is there to contest it when they try to pull that bullshit, when they say, oh, well, how do I know that you didn't write that yourself? And Rebecca says, because I'm here and I'm the one that wrote it. That makes a big fucking difference. If they already know that Rebecca's there, they're not going to try that bullshit to begin with. And I'm trying to be that help for Rebecca, but she is very much off of a deep end that I'm not okay with. I am not okay with committing felonies. When I threatened to kill people, I threatened to kill people exclusively who had threatened to kill me and threatened to kill my loved ones. I threatened people back. I did not at any point in time ever threaten to chop anybody's kids up. And with Rebecca talking about this, I understand where it's coming from. She's calling it redneck fishing. And she's typed that about 30 times about redneck fishing, redneck fishing. No, 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 no. You stir the pot if you don't have anyone else helping you, because it's all you can do. But when you have someone there that's willing to help you, you don't have to stir that pot anymore. We can go a much, much simpler route. And that's called safety in numbers. That's what I needed from the very start. And when I made this trip up here, that is what Rebecca was saying that she needed. She was screaming at the top of her lungs for the help, just like I was. But also, she's of a few different opinions that I am on a lot of things. Now, she understands that she is able to get away with a lot more than I am because she's female. She's admitted that. That's not a problem. She knows that. And she's pushing that to the fullest extent that she is capable, just like I have had to do. But now I'm here and getting her a safe environment, that lowest tier on that totem pole, that lowest tier on that pyramid, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That lowest tier needs to be taken care of so that she is not stuck permanently in survival mode. When you don't have that bottom tier, you are in survival mode. Your thoughts, your actions, your anxieties are all over having enough or adequate food, water, and shelter. There's a lot of stuff I can verify just from seeing her one day in Portland. I can verify that she's living in a tent. I can verify that there is saturated, soaked newspaper in that tent because it rains a lot. I can verify that there are tweakers that hang out there. I can verify that there are a bunch of fucking tents all throughout Portland, Oregon. I can verify that that shit is too much for her to carry, to move. But I came out here to make this video because I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I haven't been getting any sleep. I'm frustrated because I haven't been getting any work done. And, that's not entirely true. I don't want to blow her off or make her feel like she's not a human being. So texting with her for 5 hours while she's telling me that she's going to have gangsters kill her, she's going to say some things and do some things so that these gangsters come and kill her. That way it forces the cops to do something. I get that entirely. I get it completely and I get it fully. We definitely need to have more than a couple of people involved, more than just me and her. But with every one person getting involved, that increases our chances of being heard by at least 1%, maybe 2 or 3. With every person that dips out, it decreases our chances of being heard. And every person who dips out on bad terms because they didn't keep their word. They didn't keep their word. They'll fucking trash your name on the way out and further decrease your chances of getting help. Cowards do this a lot. They're cowards. That's what they do. Anything to get out of it. Anything to shirk responsibility for their actions. Anything to shirk responsibility for their choices. Drug addicts are very much the same. I have seen religion used this way non-stop my entire life. So yeah, I'm very familiar with the tactics. A lot of folks want to use the fact that I'm autistic to say that I don't get any social cues, and I don't, basically to try to insinuate that I don't know anything about the environment around me because I'm autistic. I am too fucking clueless. No. Let me tell you something. If you take somebody with Down syndrome or autism or cerebral palsy, these are the three people you're most likely to call a retard. If you take somebody from any one of those three groups and you stick them in a crack house, they're going to know what a fucking teener is, dude. We're not retarded. We're not so incredibly stupid that we can't figure those things out. And the fact is, when you're otherwise inhibited like that, well, it's not like you're trying to hide it from them, is it? No, I'm not retarded. My parents, my siblings, yes, that's the drug life. The system, I grew up in it because my family was into the drug life. I understand the system. I understand the drug life. I am not too stupid to comprehend that stuff just because I'm autistic. The more overwhelmed I get, the more difficult it is for me to explain things. Same thing with Rebecca. She might be autistic, but the thing is, it's difficult to tell the difference between autistic reactions and PTSD. But you notice I say autistic reactions. That's not who we are. When we try to get help the way that you try to get help, you get help. People are more likely to listen to you. They're more likely to blow us off like we don't know what we're talking about or like nobody cares. And how do they do that? By showing that they don't care. If this happened to them, they would want someone to go in with them. If this happened to their son or their daughter, they would go in with them. I don't have that. Rebecca doesn't have that. My parents were both my predators. With Rebecca, it's the same thing. Her parents were her predators. Who is she to go to for help? So I didn't take the bunches and bunches of screenshots and post them up like I was supposed to today. Instead, I got about 5 hours more worth of stuff to take screenshots of. And she also wants me to read her book. And I haven't gotten to read her book yet. And I kept on letting her know today, hey, here's how it's working. All right. You want me to read your book and you want me to take pictures of all this stuff and you want me to tell your story. You have to let me do that. I have to be able to utilize my time to do that. And I do need to be able to take time out for myself, to take care of myself. Making those videos, I'm sweating like a pig in here. So that I can talk about very sensitive subject matter. Rebecca is okay with all of this information being out in public, but that doesn't mean that I can go talking about dogs raping people or grown men forcing an underage girl to have sex with. No, you can't say that shit in fucking Starbucks. You are not going to get away with saying that in Starbucks. Even if you say it in a whisper, somehow magically with all the machines going and all the loud noise, and even if there's 20 people all talking at once, somebody's going to hear that. For goddamn sure, someone will hear that. Their ears go, what did I just hear? So I keep opening my door to allow the hot air out. Of course, then it lets all the smoke out, and then it brings attention to me. People here at Starbucks are great to me. They're pretty much great to me everywhere. The few places that I haven't, I've had to deal with employees at Starbucks that did things that were against Starbucks policy, against corporate policy, as well as against store policy. And I've been told that at almost every Starbucks I've gone to. They're not supposed to do that. Well, it didn't stop them. I did try to make a complaint about one of those Starbucks. No, I made a complaint about this Starbucks here. Not really a complaint. I got a hold of their regional manager to say thank you for the employees here because they've really been great. They're pretty much the only people I get to talk to. With Rebecca, it would have been nice to record what she's saying. It makes it a lot less work than me for on me. I mean, if I have to spend 4 or 5 hours, it's going to take longer than that to take those screenshots, go through them all, pull everything out that obviously cannot be on my Facebook. It's going to take a lot of time to do that. It would have been easier if she'd have just called me and we recorded it live. I mean, she wants me to put all this out there. That's the thing. I need her to call, and I need her to tell you guys this stuff herself. I'm here for her. I am doing my best to lend her a voice, just like I've tried my best to lend others my voice. And allow this platform for their voices in their words, their literal voices, so they can tell their stories on my channel. And a few people have done that. Some of them are nuttier than fucking squirrel turds. Some of them are not. In order to be able to help Rebecca, I got to be able to try to get her into a safe environment, just like with Amy Witcher. She needed a safe environment. When that lady in, I think it's Texas, jumped the gun and called CPS and the police about the child abuse there. I mean, I was going to do it within a day or two, but I needed to try to get Amy Witcher and her kids somewhere safe before doing so. Otherwise, she was going to end up with nothing, and they were going to take her kids away. Well, then, of course, Amy wanted to get angry at me. She wanted to be hateful towards me. She wanted to say, "Why did you do that? I don't have a safe place to go." Yeah, I know. That's why I'm letting you know what's up. That's why I'm letting you know, Amy, that you need to turn it in. That's what I was letting her know at that point. You need to turn it in. Otherwise, Amy, you're breaking the law. She was already fully aware of that, though. The situation that Rebecca's going through, for her to get out of that environment, where to? She doesn't know that area. As far as campsites go or any of that, she hasn't been there in years. And since she's been there, she's stayed pretty much in Portland. I've let her know, hey, ask other people. Try to find something. See, she was going to try to find somebody to watch her stuff because she can't carry it all. And we were going to go start ourselves a little bit of a camp. Possibly 2, 3, maybe 4 people up there max. People who are not alcoholics. And she just needed a couple of days to find somebody to watch her stuff. Well, now she's not finding somebody to watch her stuff. She's just busy going off the deep end. I can't help her with that. The things I did, I would not have had to do if I had help in person. The things that she's doing are the things that I had to do because I didn't have help in person. That's why I came here, is so that she does not have to do those things. So that she does not have to break the law to be heard. So that she doesn't have to call out her predators in public and get beaten up or possibly killed by her predators in order to get heard. She has to be afraid. Her predators are still free. Now, my situation with being assaulted by Waylon Lolatai, that's on my arrest record permanently. So every officer that I encounter automatically treats me like I assaulted an officer. They are not willing to hear my side or take a look at the evidence, just like the courts weren't. The courts dropped the charges. Do you know why the courts dropped the charges? Because I was going to take it all the way, and they knew it. And if I took it all the way, then that body camera evidence would have been requisitioned. In order to get away with that, they had to make sure that that body cam evidence wasn't requisitioned, which means dropping charges before that requisition paperwork goes all the way through. And then all they have to do is keep me riding through the courts, keep me having false charges pressed against me for a year. After that point, well, their body camera evidence is destroyed and it's their word versus yours. When you're called mentally ill, you automatically lose 100% of the time in that scenario if it's just you. As you guys have seen, my predators have gotten away with their crimes by playing victim. I posted up the evidence of the crimes they've committed, and still nothing. Still, I get treated like I'm making these things up. Even with conversations with Miss Peaches on here, people want to pretend that Miss Peaches is a figment of my imagination. Same thing with Natalie Bollinger's ex-stepmothers. Same thing with Mandy Hughes. Same thing with Mandy Singer. All of these people do exist. They're on my YouTube channel. They're on my Facebook. Their conversations with me, their messages with me show that through all of this, I've been telling the truth. With Rebecca, same thing. From what I've been going through, yeah, she admits to being the complete and total asshole that she is when she's an asshole. Same as me. At least she's being honest about it. But she's got someone here who's willing to help her how she needs. And she's doing that. When I went to these people who promised to help me how I need, they weren't there in the same capacity that I am. They weren't sitting down and looking at it and reading it all and getting involved. The ones that did come to visit me treated it like a vacation. Like, okay, well, Sean, I came here to help you, but helping you is kind of, hushing my vibe, or helping you is kind of preventing me from enjoying whatever substances that they've consumed at that point. And then there's the sex thing. Both males and females, your oxygen level is fucked up when you are aroused. You don't think right. It's like getting drunk or getting fucked up on drugs. Your brain doesn't work right at that point. That's why there's so many people that go back to their abuser after being rescued from that. Their brains are so boiled from the thought of sex that they will stab the dude who rescued them in the back to go back to their familiar penis. There's some people that I was mad at for fucked up shit that they did. Like, for example, Tabitha Michelle Cook. Graham did some fucked up shit. Graham was dishonest. And of course, that's fine though, because he says he's Christian and he says he's not Jesus. So because he's not Jesus, it makes it okay for him to not be honest. Okay. Well, I wasn't mad at Tabby over that. I was mad at Graham. But Graham and Tabby had just recently started bumping uglies. So Tabby went at my fucking throat like I was some sort of a piece of shit because her penis did something wrong. And I called her out on that. I didn't call him her boyfriend. I called him her penis at that point. I'm not interested in sex. I'm interested in doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Sex is not on my mind. Finding sexual predators and seeing to it that they are put away instead of being allowed to do it repeatedly. Just like these physical predators like Waylon Lolatai, because his first victim in Boulder, me, was not heard. He assaulted more people. Because Clearview's victim, one of their many victims in 2018, me, wasn't heard. They killed people. Because one of the victims of those guards in the Boulder County Jail, me, was not heard. Those guards killed Demetrius Shankling and got away with it. All of these people who said, I didn't know nothing, they didn't know nothing, they didn't know nothing, they all know at least a small part of the story, or I wouldn't be asking. I told the truth. And these people want to be pissed off because after months and months and months of something that a decent excuse for a human being would have gone in immediately to turn in those predators, gone in immediately to help that person. Instead, for months, they did nothing but give empty words and empty promises and waste my time and waste my resources. All of this cost me money. All of this travel cost me money. And when my resources were gone, these people dipped out. Like I never existed. I'm not okay with that. And Rebecca's having to go through the same thing. No, I'm not making excuses for her actions. I'm saying that they are necessary. And they shouldn't be. They are necessary because of labels, because of slander, and because of a court system that victimizes the poor, especially when they're homeless, does not care what people do to you. Anyone can do anything they want to you at any point in time, and all they got to say is he's mentally ill and homeless, or she's mentally ill and homeless. You can get away with rape. You can get away with assault. You can literally get away with murder by picking the right victim. The police sure as fuck do.